Yo, what's up, y'all? This philosophical from the rap review room. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? I first want to get the business out of the way. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Been getting a lot of good feedback and a lot of good positive encouragement on this channel. Appreciate that. Appreciate the comments you guys have been telling me down there about these albums and the different tracks. Appreciate you guys checking out the music. Also, if you're an up and coming artist and you want your music reviewed here on the channel, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Make sure you follow me here on YouTube, follow me on Instagram. Definitely, we can get your music, whether you may have a track and or an album. We can definitely get that review here to where what we do here is give good feedback, honest, authentic feedback to your track or album. My opinion, my feedback is not necessarily law. We try to help artists become better artists. You don't like it? Let's not hate on it. Let's debate. All right, so we're gonna continue on with this Tyler the Creator series, right? A couple weeks ago, I did Cornucopia. Last week, I did If You Call Me, If You Get Lost. Cornucopia, I felt was a good album for Tyler the Creator. Uh, Call Me If You Get Lost, man. I just wasn't feeling that one, man. I wasn't feeling that one. So, of course, this is the Tyler Creator series where we're going back on a specific artist. This artist is Tyler the Creator, and today we're reviewing Igor. I will tell you this right now, and let me know down in the comments. Right, this is his album that I feel it's a mix of 808s and Heartbreaks and Yeezus. Right. It's not a lot of rapping on here. It's a lot of experimental melodies. I like the vibe of this actually, right? And continuing on with the Tyler the Creator story, I'm feeling that this is an album he was reaching a level of peace. Of course, on Cornucopia, he was experimenting with speaking on his parents, potential parenthood, kind of peeling back layers. If You Call Me, If You Get Lost album, I felt like, he was a little bit lost on that album, no pun intended. And I feel like on this one is more of his eclectic experimental album where he's kind of tapping into some beats here and some concepts here, and also the vibe here where it's peace, right? Now, again, I will say, throughout listening to the last two projects of Tyler the Creator, the consistency is real. He's producing, writing, and his own production on this album, right? On this album, we've got Kanye West on here, which was a great track I'm going to get to in a second here. And it just seems like there's he has a certain list of features and artists that I'm seeing and hearing repeatedly on his last two projects that I'm hearing, right? And I've mentioned that it'd be interesting to hear what he does on some Kanye West production. And we'll do a track breakdown in a second here. I do stand by that. I do think that he should do maybe an album with Kanye West, but of old Kanye West production, right? Playboy Cardi's on here. Playboy Cardi has got some vocals and a hidden verse on here on Earthquake. Louis Vert's got some vocals on here. Solange's got some vocals on here, and we got some vocals and narration from Jared Carmichael, which is very, very interesting. So as I said, that I feel like, following the trajectory and story of Tyler the Creator, I feel like this is one of his peaceful albums, right? And we're gonna do, like I said, a track breakdown. Igor, right? Let me just kind of look up the definition of Igor here, right? So Igor basically, was a mad scientist, right? Kind of experimenting, right? But this is kind of a good take on it, where Tyler the Creator is kind of this mad scientist experimenting with different chemistries, mixing it together, and you're getting an album like this. What I'm hearing, and this is to me by far, listening to this album so far, listening to his two albums right now, I definitely think it's better than Call Me If You Get Lost. Leaps and bounds above, better album. Cornucopia. Um, I feel like they're two different albums, but of the same formula. I think he's rapping a little bit more on Cornucopia. He's a little bit more hungry on Cornucopia. I feel like on Igor, we're getting similar production to Cornucopia, but Cornucopia was more of an updated, modernized version of the peaceful beats, but it had a little bit more mix there. Igor to me just sounds straight eclectic, peace, kind of this like it's a mellow vibe. I get the painting of the picture that we're getting into where he was kind of getting into his peaceful state, right? But Igor, in terms of being that mad scientist wanting to experiment with different things, and this is exactly what we got on this album, right? Let's do a track breakdown here. Igor's theme, by far, the best intro from Tyler the Creator so far, right? So far, beat was amazing. Lil Uzi Vert, not a fan of Lil Uzi Vert, but his vocals really was a surprisingly good touch to this, and it's good. It was good. Earthquake, right? Earthquake to me, when it came out, it was such euphoric and a different sound from me listening. That was one of my very first singles that I heard from Tyler the Creator, right? One first of many, right? Our Future and different singles he was doing, but this is kind of his mainstream, like it's just that eclectic. I don't want to call it auto tune, but that kind of singing, that kind of peaceful perspective type of tone, and we're getting that all over this album. And that's where I say that I feel like there's not a lot of rapping on this album, and a lot of, I feel like a lot of production is speaking for him on this album, right? But the little rapping we do get, I feel like it's towards the end of this album. But I feel like this album is kind of a mix of 808s and heartbreaks and Yeezus, right? But in terms of, it's a little bit more toned down, light version of those two albums, right? But I do hear the Kanye West influence on this, right? Just the experimentation, the musicianship. But I will say the execution of Tyler the Creator to me, and I've said this on the reviews I did, is that I question a lot of just the lyrics. I question the execution, and there are a little bit of cringe lyrics, right? But I feel like this album is a little bit toned down. I'm not hearing that as much, and whether that may be purposeful or on purpose and letting the album speak for itself, I appreciated that. But if I had to stand this album towards, like I said, it's better than If You Call Me If You Get Lost. And if I had to stand it up against Cornucopia, I think I will give 1A to Cornucopia and 1B to Igor. And that could be argued. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this album stacked up against Cornucopia, right? Like I said, Earthquake, man, was different. But it showed. I'm starting to see a side, going back to listening to his albums, a side of Tyler the Creator where I feel like this piece that he's found, but this conflict where we've been kind of peeling back the layers of Tyler the Creator. I feel some conflict. Like Tyler the Creator is trying to fit into certain genres, because I did hear that on Call Me If You Get Lost, right? But I heard on Cornucopia where he's experimenting with his future, but kind of staying the same, right? But on Igor, it's like he's experimenting with trying to fit into a certain genre, a certain box, right? And I feel that because it's not a lot of rapping on here, right? I think was a good track, right? Just really relaying a lot of his thoughts, his manifestations. I I, I did enjoy this, right? Especially the Solange vocals on here. And it, like I said, there's not a lot of rapping on this album, right? And this, by the way, this is the album that won him his first Grammy, right? Not a lot of rapping, a lot of introspective piece production, right? And he took that formula into his future music, right? Exactly what you run for this, you end up chasing, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lesson, right, on this track. Great track. Great track. Right. Running Out of Time was a beautiful track where he's like, running out of time. And it's just that track to me really stood out to me because it's almost like he's speaking to himself to say, you got to make a decision. You're running out of time with certain decisions. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Right. So as we continue to peel back the layers of Tyler the Creator, it's like, man, right? I hear a lot of conflict. Right, and then you hear, and I've been hearing the whispers and the rumors, and it's telling in a lot of his music lately. And even hearing this album, of, him being open, the fingernail painting, and I think Tyler has kind of embraced that to try to figure out a way to be him, but also keep the instrumentation, the inspirational vibe in the music, and I appreciate that, but I feel Call Me If You Get Lost was an album where he tried to do the rapidy rap, and it just didn't work. So I feel like this is Tyler the Creator is kind of trying to figure out the conflict between, and I've said before, he sounds good on slower, R&B, melodic, Donald Glover, Childish Gambino type of beats, right? But it's not a lot of rap. So I wonder if he's fighting this, who do I want to be versus who does my audience want me to be, right? New Magic Wand, right? New Magic Wand was a good track also, right? One of the tracks I wasn't really feeling was A Boy Is a Gun. I really wasn't feeling that track. Right, that was one track I felt like, there was some cringe execution there. I really wasn't feeling that. That production wasn't great on it. The rapping wasn't great on it. This is one of the tracks where he did still some rapping on here. I just didn't. I think this is one of those mild, loud beats that, again, just didn't work for me as far as Tyler the Creator. Right. Puppet was an amazing track. What a verse from Kanye West. And this is where I said, I would love to hear Tyler the Creator on some Kanye West beats. Man. Kanye West killed this verse. Right. And we got old Kanye on this. We got old Kanye. And Kanye did lend to some of the production on here. Puppet is my favorite track on this album. Amazing track, amazing beat, amazing production, amazing verse from Kanye. And even Tyler the Creator singing on here works well with this production. Right? And I've said before, I think this is Tyler's strengths, but is this the conflict with him rapping versus the melodic singing? Right? But I will say, Puppet, amazing track. Right? What's Good was okay. Was just okay. Right? Gone, Thank You was a good track. I'm gone, I'm gone forever. And then the thank you track to all his fans, just basically, this is where we're getting into, a lot of the rapping. Right, we're getting a mix of the melodic with some rapping. We're kind of he's starting to peel back the beginning layers of, his father wanting to be in a relationship, fatherhood. So these are the beginning little stages, right? That's really expressed in Chronicopia, right? I Don't Love You Anymore was just an okay track. I mean, it was just simple. I thought it was just an okay track. I didn't like the production. I did think a lot of the tracks towards the end were kind of drowning out a little bit. I'm glad he made it 12 tracks. If he made it maybe a couple more tracks longer, I think this review would have really, I probably wouldn't have liked this album. So I'm glad he made it a shorter album, right? I Don't Love You Anymore. It's just okay. And Are We Still Friends? It's just okay. It's just okay. It was just one of those beats. I didn't think the hook really worked. The production didn't work. And I don't think it was the proper way to kind of end the album. Right. So my final thoughts on this album is I think it's definitely better if You Call Me and Get Lost. And I'm going to give this album an 8. And this is why I'm going to give it an 8. Right. And I hope Tyler, the Creator, is listening to this. Right. I want to hear more. I won't say that. I would like to hear more from you and Kanye. Right. I do think you do very well on a lot of the slower beats, the melodic beats. I think your euphoric sound is A plus, right? And it speaks on Chronocopia, right? And I think a lot of your strengths are when you're rapping with passion and anger. What you're allowing us in, you're allowing us peeling back the layers. You're allowing us to into your life to help us understand certain concepts and difficulties you're having. The problem I have with you, Tyler, is that I think it's unserious sometimes. It's a little bit too, like, it crosses the line where even Earthquake, people might feel like it's very euphoric, but it doesn't cross the line, right? I feel like there was some songs on Chronocopia where I feel like it was very unserious, because there's a difference between being cool, having fun. I get all that, but sometimes I do feel like it can come off as a little unserious, a little cringe, and where it's hard for an artist like me, but also a listener, can connect, can feel your story, because I feel like that's you as an artist. When you're creating an artistry, musicianship, composition, melodies, soul, just personality, I say concept already, but conceptual, and then sometimes it can become very unserious, and that one song can tune out a lot of me listening in my ears, because I'm feeling it, and then sometimes I don't understand sometimes the unseriousness. Who connects with it? And let me know down in the comments, right? Am I off base on this? So right now, if I had to say today, right, very, very, very slight edge, Igor, then Chronocopia, and then Call Me If You Get Lost. All right? We're going to continue this Tyler, the Creator series next week, and we're going to review Flower Boy. All right? Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the page. Also, if you're an up-and-coming artist and you want your music reviewed here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the page. If you want your track and or album reviewed, don't hesitate to reach out to me. We can definitely get your track and or music reviewed here. We'll be giving honest, authentic feedback. My feedback is in law. When you gotta hate, let's debate. All right. Like I said, I give this album an 8. Igor. Next week, we're going to hit Flower Boy. I felt this album was Igor, 12 tracks. At the end, it kind of threw me off a little bit. It kind of went into that unseriousness, but I felt a lot of the story and kind of the beginning lines of peeling back, parent your issues with your parents, fatherhood, just the conflict. I felt that. So we're definitely giving that album 8. Let me know what you guys thought about Igor down in the comments. I'm philosophical from the rap review room, y'all. I'm out, y'all.